For many years, we were led to believe that ancient wooden buildings were unbearably cold, perpetually damp, drafty, and completely uncomfortable. We've grown accustomed to thinking that, without modern insulation, double-paned windows, and powerful heating systems, surviving a harsh winter would be a living hell. But what if the reality was exactly the opposite? The unique and truly ingenious architectural solutions of the Cherokee Native Americans today pose a serious challenge not only to historians, but also to modern engineers and professional builders with their multi-million-dollar technologies. Just imagine, these people built their wooden homes using a special system that ensured a perfect, comfortable microclimate inside at all times. Even when the most merciless blizzards raged outside and icy storms froze the landscape, their homes remained incredibly warm, and the system functioned like a perfect natural thermos. How did they manage to achieve such a phenomenal effect without a single gram of synthetic materials? Be sure to watch this video all the way to the very last second, because at the end I'll reveal the main secret of these ancient craftsmen. You'll learn how ordinary tree bark, applied using a unique method, became the key to creating flawless thermal insulation that was hundreds of years ahead of its time. Believe me, after this, you'll look at an ordinary forest with completely different eyes. The hidden truth that everyone keeps quiet about lies in the Cherokee's very approach to selecting building materials. They did not cut down entire forests just to build a single dwelling, as modern construction companies do. Their unique architecture was based on a profound understanding of the physical properties of every single tree in a dense forest. Craftsmen carefully examined the trunks, assessing the thickness, elasticity, and texture of the outer protective layer. Choosing the right natural material determined the building's entire future and its ability to withstand the long winter cold. Construction began with the search for ideal trunks to create a sturdy load-bearing frame for the building. The Cherokee used young and very flexible hazel or ash trees, which could be easily bent to the desired angle. These trunks were completely stripped of excess branches and carefully dug deep into the hard ground along the entire perimeter of the future house. Planting the supports deep ensured the structure's incredible stability, even in the face of the strongest gusts of icy winter wind. The frame became a sturdy skeleton, capable of withstanding the enormous weight of the thick bark and heavy winter precipitation. After installing the vertical wooden posts, the builders began shaping the roof and walls. They took the tops of the buried, flexible trunks and very carefully bent them toward each other at the center of the structure. At the points where the trunks intersected, the wood was securely bound together with elastic plant fibers or thin strips of dried bark. This created an absolutely reliable dome-shaped vault with smoothly rounded edges on the facade. This streamlined shape physically prevented cold air from lingering for long on the outer surface of the wooden house. To finally secure the bark to the flexible frame, only natural materials were used, without the customary iron nails. Small, neat holes were pre-drilled into each sheet using sharp bone or wooden pegs. Strong ropes, braided from the inner fibers of the bark or from thick, dry stems, were threaded tightly through these holes. The panels were tightly secured to the wooden framework, completely eliminating even the slightest gaps and wind-blown cracks. This unique fastening method allowed the material to move slightly during sudden changes in humidity, preventing cracks from forming. This unique ancient construction technology demonstrates the indigenous people's profound knowledge of architectural solutions in extreme climatic conditions. Their wooden houses stood for decades, reliably protecting large families from icy storms and biting northern winds. Studying these forgotten methods allows modern engineers to take a completely new look at eco-friendly ways to insulate facades. We'd love to hear your thoughts on these ancient engineering solutions. What do you think of this approach to construction? Would you like to visit a house like this? Let us know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to our channel. The secret, passed down from generation to generation, lies in the unique system for laying bark on a sloped roof. The Cherokee never laid the bark sheets edge to edge, as this would inevitably lead to severe leaks during prolonged rains. They always used a clever overlapping technique, which is now widely used in the installation of modern, high-end roof tiles. Installation of the facade always began strictly at the very bottom edge of the wall, gradually moving toward the top ridge of the roof. Each upper wooden sheet reliably overlapped the one below by several dozen centimeters, creating a continuous protective barrier. This well-designed cascading system allowed rainwater and melted spring snow to flow unimpeded down the building's facade. Moisture simply could not physically penetrate the dense cladding and damage the internal wooden load-bearing frame. For maximum structural integrity, all joints were additionally coated with a very thick resin derived from various coniferous trees. This natural sealant hardened quickly in the cold and turned into a completely waterproof, monolithic protective joint. The houses remained completely dry even during the most prolonged autumn downpours and the active spring melting of deep snow. Particular attention was always paid to the proper design of doorways, which were rightly considered the main source of precious heat loss. Doors were intentionally made small, and their height was often kept low so that warm air would accumulate near the ceiling and not escape outside. During the long winter months, the doorway was often supplemented with a special outer vestibule made of poles and additional layers of bark. This cold vestibule served as an ideal buffer zone between the icy street and the warm main living space. A person would first step completely into the vestibule, close the outer door tightly behind them, and only then open the inner door. This airlock system virtually eliminated drafts and prevented the heated house from cooling down instantly. Modern engineers use exactly the same principle when designing entryways in the harsh northern latitudes. An equally important element of ancient architecture was the complete absence of the usual wide windows in the walls of wooden structures. Any opening through a solid wall inevitably became a dangerous thermal bridge and significantly reduced overall energy efficiency. Instead of windows, the Cherokee relied entirely on a single ventilation opening at the very top center of the roof. Through this open chimney, sufficient daylight entered the house to perform any daily household tasks. Solid, thick walls without window openings ensured maximum heat retention even during the harshest winter frosts. The use of all these unique methods made the Cherokee's spacious dwellings the ultimate example of climatic adaptation in harsh conditions. Every small detail, from the wooden foundation to the very ridge of the roof, served a single purpose: to preserve heat and ensure safety. Why do you think modern mass construction technologies often ignore such extremely simple natural laws of heat retention? But even the best insulated and most airtight house can quickly become an icy trap without a proper heating and ventilation system. In the next chapter, you'll learn how Native Americans ingeniously managed smoke and complex air currents inside their spacious dwellings. What if I showed you a real time machine that would transport us right inside this amazingly warm structure? The central and most important element of any Cherokee home has always been the hot hearth. It was located precisely at the geometric center of the earthen floor, in a small, neat recess lined with smooth, heavy river stones. These dense stones not only served as a necessary fire safety measure, but also functioned as powerful heat accumulators. While the fire was burning actively, they heated up intensely, absorbing a colossal amount of thermal energy. This ingenious ventilation system operated solely due to differences in temperature and atmospheric pressure at various heights. Cold, heavy, fresh air seeped very slowly through the lower gaps in the doorway, which had been left open on purpose, and immediately sank toward the hot hearth. There, it heated up rapidly, rushed high upward, and drew absolutely all the smoke out through the upper ventilation opening. This continuous, steady convection current constantly supplied the house with fresh air, without creating strong, icy drafts at floor level. People could sleep soundly on the lower level without the slightest risk of being poisoned by dangerous carbon monoxide. The interior space of a warm house was always very skillfully zoned vertically to make the most of every degree of heat. Along the curved walls, builders constructed very wide sleeping platforms about 1 meter above the cold ground. Warm, light air, rising continuously from the hearth, created the most comfortable temperature zone at the level of these wooden platforms. At the very bottom, near the cool floor, heavy household items, work tools, and valuable supplies of non-perishable provisions were stored. This clever distribution of interior space allowed the immutable laws of thermodynamics to be utilized to the fullest extent. It is very important to note that the dimensions of each dwelling were strictly calculated based on the exact number of people living in it. A house that was too large and spacious would have required an enormous amount of firewood for adequate heating, which was extremely inefficient. A room that was too small and cramped would not have been able to accommodate all the necessary winter supplies and would quickly become unbearably stuffy. The Cherokee always built wooden houses of just the right size, where the heat from people's bodies actively contributed to the overall heating. Maximum energy efficiency was achieved not only by choosing the right materials, but also through a phenomenally precise calculation of the required air volume. During the fiercest winter blizzards, the upper smoke vent on the roof had to be sealed completely to preserve the last remnants of heat. In such extreme cases, the hearth was immediately switched to a slow smoldering mode, with the hot red embers generously covered by a thick layer of gray ash. The ash reliably blocked the free flow of oxygen to the fire, but allowed the coals to radiate very gentle and steady heat for hours on end. The complete absence of an open flame meant there was absolutely no acrid smoke, making it perfectly safe to remain inside the completely enclosed room. Early in the morning, all one had to do was rake aside the warm ash and add a little dry grass for the fire to flare up with renewed vigor. The interior layout of an ancient Cherokee home represented a perfect and flawless balance of complex engineering and an understanding of nature. Every carefully designed element, from the arrangement of the stones in the hearth to the precise height of the sleeping areas, served its strictly designated function. This incredible architecture of survival still amazes us with its extreme ingenuity and incredible thermal efficiency. If you enjoyed this in-depth engineering analysis of ancient building techniques, be sure to like this video right now. Your active support really helps us create even more detailed and engaging content about the lives of indigenous peoples. Want to learn a secret that will forever change your life and your fundamental understanding of the durability of wooden structures? The main problem with any modern wooden house is always the wood's high susceptibility to rapid rot due to constant soil moisture. Cherokee builders were well aware of this invisible threat and used truly unique ancient methods to protect their load-bearing wooden posts. Before driving the load-bearing frame poles into the damp ground, the builders would always subject the ends of the wood to a complex heat treatment. They would very slowly and carefully char the lower parts of the trunks over a low fire until an extremely dense layer of black charcoal formed. The proper preparation of building materials always took place at a strictly defined time of year, which also had a dramatic impact on the final quality of the house. The Native Americans felled the necessary trees and stripped off the thick bark, primarily in early spring or very late, cold autumn. It is during these cool periods that sap flow in the trunks slows to a minimum, and the wood contains the lowest possible amount of natural moisture. Completely dry natural material warped much less as it dried and did not shrink significantly at all after all stages of construction were completed. This simple rule made it possible to permanently avoid the appearance of unexpected gaps and dangerous frame distortions during long-term use. A deep understanding of the physical and mechanical properties of wood helped Cherokee builders create unique structures capable of withstanding truly colossal external loads. In northern regions with very heavy winter snowfall, the roof was always made significantly steeper and more pointed. Heavy, wet spring snow simply could not physically remain on steep, high slopes covered with very smooth tree bark for long. It inevitably slid far down under its own enormous weight, completely relieving the wooden frame of an extremely dangerous critical load. This simple solution prevented roof collapse, which very often occurs in modern flat architectural structures under the weight of snow. In vast areas with very strong flatland winds, wooden houses, on the contrary, were always built much lower to the ground and as streamlined as possible. The ideal dome-shaped form of the structure caused hurricane-force winds to flow very smoothly around the obstacle, without creating any strong destructive pressure on the walls. The complete absence of flat rectangular facades and sharp protruding corners reduced the building's aerodynamic drag to an absolute minimum. The colossal energy of the storm simply dissipated, gliding very gently over the curved, smooth panels of thick bark, causing them absolutely no harm. The building literally blended into the local landscape, becoming a unified and harmonious whole with the harsh prairie environment. Very often, small, shallow trenches were dug around the completed house to quickly drain water during heavy autumn downpours. These earthen channels clearly directed powerful flows of meltwater or rainwater far away from the wooden foundation. The ground around the load-bearing support posts always remained relatively dry, which provided phenomenal additional protection for the buried wood. Such extremely simple earthworks reliably saved the structure from dangerous flooding and the subsequent inevitable destruction of its foundation. This is yet another stunning example of how deep engineering knowledge was successfully applied in practice with minimal labor. The use of absolutely all these ingenious techniques allowed indigenous peoples to create truly reliable, durable, and very warm homes. Every tiny architectural detail played a crucial role in ensuring maximum comfort and safety for all residents. Do you think such lightweight wooden structures could withstand modern, powerful hurricanes without a single iron nail? Yet the harsh natural environment constantly presented challenges, not only in the form of strong winds and heavy snow, but also incredibly sharp temperature fluctuations. In the next chapter, you'll definitely learn how the Native Americans brilliantly coped with this terrible weather and the most extreme cold. The sharp temperature fluctuations across the vast expanses of North America could be truly extreme, even within a single short day. During the day, the bright sun heated the facades of buildings intensely, while deep into the night, the temperature plummeted rapidly to well below freezing. Tree bark coped superbly with these constant thermal fluctuations precisely because of its phenomenally high elasticity. When heated intensely, this natural material expanded slightly, and when cooled rapidly, it contracted safely without forming any dangerous microcracks. Modern rigid plastic or metal facades often crack with a loud crack or become irreversibly deformed under similar thermal stresses. The main feature of bark lies in the presence of a vast multitude of extremely fine, long fibers that are incredibly tightly interwoven. This unique structure acts as a powerful microscopic spring, completely absorbing thermal stress deep within the material itself. Even the most severe, prolonged frosts did not make the thick cladding brittle or fragile, allowing it to fully retain its original protective properties. The facade panels continued to shield the internal framework with the utmost reliability, requiring absolutely no additional complex maintenance during the winter months. This important physical property was absolutely critical to the survival of families during very long and incredibly harsh winters. During the most severe and dangerous cold spells, the interior walls were often coated with an additional, very thick layer of moist, heavy clay. This malleable clay tightly filled even the slightest irregularities between the large bark sheets, creating a completely airtight thermal barrier. Once completely dry, it turned into a very dense monolith that was completely impervious to even the strongest prairie winds. In addition, the clay served as an excellent heavy heat accumulator, functioning much like stones around a campfire. It actively absorbed intense heat during the day and slowly released it on cold nights, perfectly balancing daily temperature fluctuations. The judicious use of heavy clay, properly combined with lightweight tree bark, created a perfect analog of modern complex composite materials. The highly resilient wood provided phenomenal structural strength to the building and excellent basic insulation against the cold wind. Heavy mineral plaster added the much-needed mass that was critical for retaining thermal energy inside the building. These two completely different materials complemented each other perfectly, fully offsetting any mutual shortcomings in the facade's construction. This sophisticated approach clearly demonstrates the highest level of engineering ingenuity in the construction of dwellings that appear simple at first glance. The unique seasonal versatility of the Cherokee dwelling made it an absolutely ideal and reliable shelter for any time of year. It provided flawless protection against harsh Arctic frosts, offered refuge from the unbearable summer heat, and steadfastly withstood the strongest winds. The skillful use of only natural materials reduced the amount of manual labor required for construction and repair to an absolute minimum. These stunning architectural solutions have successfully stood the test of time under the harshest and most unforgiving climatic conditions. They remain a vivid and exemplary illustration of the perfectly harmonious interaction between the thinking human being and the surrounding wilderness. What if everything you've been taught over the years about insulating and protecting buildings became hopelessly outdated hundreds of years ago? Modern engineers very often rely entirely on high-tech synthetic films for perfect waterproofing of building facades, but the ancient Cherokee Indians achieved exactly the same stunning result using ordinary resin and birch bark without polluting nature at all. Birch bark possesses a truly unique natural property of repelling all water, thanks to its very high content of natural tar. In some structures, the thinnest layers of birch bark were specifically laid between the main panels of coarse bark to ensure 100% moisture protection. To create cozy lighting during the dark evening hours, the Native Americans had absolutely no need for massive wide windows. Resin-coated wooden torches, skillfully placed around the entire perimeter of the circular walls, provided more than enough bright light for handicrafts or cooking. This light reflected very softly off the smooth, curved walls, illuminating the entire interior with an even and very warm glow. The walls, made of dry bark, did not absorb light nearly as much as dark, uneven stone or earthen surfaces typically do. The rich internal texture of the wood always gave the interior an incredibly cozy, warm, and very lived-in, homey feel. Maintaining such a complex home required very regular, yet by no means burdensome, attention from all the residents. Once every few years, the men had to carefully renew all the outer layers of protective coniferous resin on the upper roof joints. This very important work was always carried out well before the onset of the long autumn rains, so that the resin would have time to harden completely and securely. Cracked ropes made of plant fibers could be replaced with new ones with the utmost ease, without having to completely dismantle the entire large structure. Timely and very minor routine repairs fully ensured that the sturdy building would serve more than one generation of grateful residents. Mandatory fire safety issues in a wooden house with an open hearth were always addressed solely through very strict discipline. Reliable spark arresters made of damp green branches or special woven screens were installed high above the hottest part of the fire. Over time, the inner surface of the tree bark facing the open fire became densely coated with a very thin layer of black soot. This soot formed a powerful fire-resistant film that was extremely resistant to accidental ignition from the occasional flying sparks. Terrible fires were extremely rare here, as every member of the community knew all the rules for handling open fire from early childhood. The house's ideal shape also excellently facilitated the proper distribution of light and heat during the very short winter days. The spacious dwellings were very often oriented so that the main doorway faced strictly toward the bright east or southeast. This allowed the very first bright rays of the rising sun to penetrate deep inside and very quickly warm up the room, which had grown cold over the long night. Free solar energy was always used as efficiently as possible from the very early, frosty morning. Perfectly precise geometry and exact orientation toward the cardinal directions made the house incredibly warm and very welcoming to all who entered. The technologies of indigenous peoples irrefutably prove that creating a truly comfortable home requires absolutely no giant plants or factories. All that is needed is a very deep understanding of the properties of wood and a great deal of skill in working with one's own hands. Do you think it's possible to use simple birch bark on a large scale in modern, eco-friendly rural construction? But even the best and most reliable natural material is absolutely useless without the precise and coordinated work of the entire construction team. In the next chapter, you'll learn how ingenious logistics and teamwork were organized during the construction of these stunning wooden houses. Building a truly large birch bark house has always been a massive undertaking, requiring the active participation of the entire community. The hard work was divided among the group members solely based on their physical strength and professional construction skills. Adult men were always responsible for the heavy work of cutting the load-bearing posts and precisely installing the massive wooden frame. This required truly enormous physical effort and an absolutely precise eye for the correct geometric placement of the supports. A perfectly level framework was always the key to the phenomenal stability and remarkable durability of the entire future structure. The complex process of stripping the bark was very often entrusted only to the most experienced craftsmen, who knew the characteristics of each tree inside and out. Removing a huge and heavy layer of material without a single crack was a true art form, requiring immense patience. Just one wrong or overly forceful movement with a wooden wedge could permanently ruin a very valuable sheet of bark intended for the future facade. Women and teenagers always played an active role in gathering the highly flexible roots and in the intricate weaving of strong binding ropes. Their nimble fingers created many hundreds of meters of the strongest ropes, which were absolutely essential for securing all the heavy panels. The Cherokee people universally used common-size standards, so that the elements of all houses would be fully interchangeable during repairs. The width and length of all structures were very often measured in standard strides, or by the arm span of the chief builder himself. This created a very beautiful unified architectural style throughout the entire settlement, making its appearance incredibly harmonious and attractive. If an old structure fell into disrepair, its intact parts were perfectly suited for quickly repairing neighboring houses. This ingenious principle of standardizing building elements originated in the dense forests long before the first industrial factories appeared. Particular skill was required to create sturdy multi-tiered shelves and storage spaces right inside the house. The frames of the wooden shelves were firmly woven directly into the load-bearing walls at an early stage of installing the vertical supports. This made all interior structures incredibly sturdy and capable of withstanding many hundreds of kilograms of heavy supplies. Storage areas were always placed as high above the floor as possible to reliably protect food from dampness and small forest pests. The living space was designed ergonomically so that every available square meter was used to its fullest practical potential. To insulate the wide sleeping areas, they always used the softest and warmest natural materials available in the nearby forest. In addition to ordinary mats, the Native Americans made extensive use of the feather-light down of cattail and dried sphagnum moss. Sphagnum moss possesses unique, powerful antibacterial properties and the ability to absorb enormous amounts of any type of moisture. Moss mattresses always remain completely dry and incredibly warm, even on the dampest, rainiest, and coldest nights. Regular, scheduled replacement of this bedding fully ensured hygiene and the complete absence of dangerous diseases within the large community. The arduous construction work was not merely a tedious technical process, but also a very important social event that brought the tribe together. Working together for long periods of time brought people incredibly close, greatly strengthening family and friendship ties within the large community. The transfer of valuable skills from the older, wiser generation to the younger took place right on the construction site itself. Young men learned how to select the right type of wood, while young women mastered all the secrets of weaving strong, complex plant-based knots. In this way, the Cherokee's unique architectural traditions were carefully preserved and continually refined over many centuries. Tree bark, as the primary building material, demonstrated remarkable natural resistance to long-term mechanical wear. Exposed to frequent rain and scorching sunlight, the outer surface of the thick sheets gradually and beautifully weathered, taking on a noble silvery hue. This natural aging process made the surface even harder, more durable, and completely impervious to minor scratches. The wood fibers were tightly compressed, forming an absolutely impenetrable armor that reliably protected the inner, vulnerable layer of wood. The house was literally being tempered by the wild outdoors, right before our eyes, becoming only stronger and more reliable with each passing year. Severe winter snowstorms were very often accompanied by large hailstones, which posed a serious threat to any structure. Large hailstones can easily pierce even modern, thin roofing materials made of plastic or brittle slate. But the incredibly thick shell excellently absorbed the fierce impacts of the icy projectiles, thanks to its phenomenal natural elasticity. The heavy hail simply bounced off the smooth, curved walls, leaving only very small, harmless dents on the facade. The sturdy architectural dome proved its absolute effectiveness time and again in the harshest weather conditions of the prairies. The smooth floor, thickly covered with heavy woven mats, played a special and very important role in ensuring comfort. These mats provided excellent additional insulation from the cold winter ground and made the surface more pleasant to walk on barefoot. They were extremely easy to remove, thoroughly shake out outdoors, or completely replace with new ones if heavily soiled. This simple modular flooring system ensured absolute, perfect cleanliness throughout the entire vast living space. Maintaining order in such a home required absolutely no water or harsh modern cleaning products. To store their most valuable possessions in complete safety, the Cherokee used special niches, securely protected by additional layers of birch bark. These unique forest safes carefully shielded warm clothing, ceremonial weapons, and ritual objects from even the slightest destructive dampness. Even if the old roof leaked just a little during an unprecedented tropical downpour, the contents of the niches always remained completely dry. They always treated their possessions with great care, as it took many months of painstaking manual labor to create them. The entire architecture of the house fully reflected this immense need to reliably preserve the community's material possessions. It is interesting to note that the vast Cherokee houses lacked the rigid interior wooden partitions or separate rooms that we are accustomed to. A single, very spacious living area ensured the most even distribution of warm air from a single hearth. Partitions would inevitably have become an insurmountable barrier to convection currents and would quickly have created dangerous cold spots. Privacy was easily and elegantly ensured by hanging mats or thick woven blankets, which were lowered at night. During the day, these curtains were rolled up, visually expanding the space considerably and significantly improving ventilation throughout the entire large room. All these numerous engineering solutions came together perfectly to form a single, flawlessly functioning life support system. A Cherokee dwelling was not merely a makeshift shelter from the elements, but a truly ideal structure for comfortable living in the dense forest. The use of completely eco-friendly materials made it entirely safe for both human health and the natural environment. Once the house was abandoned for good, it simply rotted away in the forest, leaving absolutely no mountains of plastic construction waste behind. This represents the highest degree of environmental responsibility, which all modern architects are only now beginning to timidly strive for. A comparison of the ancient, spacious dwellings of the Cherokee with modern frame houses reveals an incredible number of very unexpected paradoxes. The modern construction industry always strives for maximum airtightness in buildings, making widespread use of plastic windows and multi-layer synthetic membranes. This is indeed very effective at retaining heat, but it inevitably creates the effect of a sealed thermos, in which fresh air does not circulate at all. As a result, modern apartments experience a significant buildup of carbon dioxide, excessive humidity, and highly harmful chemical vapors. The wise builders of antiquity solved this enormous problem solely through the natural breathability of the building materials themselves. The thermal mass of a solid earthen floor and a stone hearth worked far more effectively than many modern electric heating systems. Radiators heat the air very quickly, but they cool down just as quickly and rapidly as soon as the gas boiler is turned off. Massive, heavy stones and a very thick layer of compacted earth release their stored heat for days on end, creating an incredibly gentle and even background temperature. This physical principle of radiant heat is perceived most comfortably by the human body during the coldest winter months. The heat was always distributed absolutely evenly across the entire vast area, without creating any sudden temperature fluctuations in different corners of the house. The exceptional durability of frame structures, made from highly flexible types of wood, also significantly surpasses that of many modern, expensive alternatives. Rigid rectangular houses made of red brick or brittle foam blocks very often crack at the slightest movement of the deep soil. Native American architecture, based on flexible rope ties and woven elements, withstood minor ground deformations with incredible ease. The massive structure simply adapted gently to changes in the terrain, without losing any of its structural strength or original integrity. The use of plant-based ropes instead of rigid iron nails made all joints flexible and completely impervious to stress. From the perspective of the enormous energy costs involved in construction, bark dwellings were extremely economical and entirely flawless. The mass production of bricks, cement, and insulation materials requires the burning of millions of metric tons of expensive fuel in modern industrial plants. Building a spacious Native American home required only strong physical labor and the use of extremely simple handheld wooden tools. The carbon footprint of such a structure was always absolutely zero, making it the most ideal example of sustainable development on the planet. Today's inquisitive engineers are actively studying this vast body of knowledge to develop the most advanced construction technologies of the future. The unique sound-insulating properties of multi-layered bark facades deserve a separate mention in the context of this comparison. Modern wood frame houses very often suffer from extremely poor sound insulation due to the widespread use of thin, resonant sheet materials. Thick, incredibly porous bark excellently dampened any acoustic waves, creating a zone of absolute and complete tranquility inside the living space. This material performed as well as the most expensive professional studio soundproofing, completely absorbing noise across a very wide frequency range. Residents could peacefully enjoy complete silence, even when a truly terrifying forest storm was raging just beyond the thin walls. A careful study of traditional ancient construction methods opens up incredibly vast prospects for modern architects and engineers. Understanding how extremely simple materials can solve the most complex problems of thermal regulation forever changes our view of the construction industry. This knowledge irrefutably proves that technological progress does not always necessitate the use of complex machinery or toxic synthetic materials. True innovation very often lies in the ability to apply the laws of physics and the properties of natural materials with the utmost skill. Cherokee homes remain forever an unsurpassed masterpiece of natural forest engineering, completely impervious to the passage of time and harsh climates. The vast legacy of the brilliant Cherokee builders extends far beyond the narrow confines of mere historical curiosity or wooden museum reconstructions. Today, their ancient engineering approach has become a powerful source of inspiration for creating fully self-sufficient and independent eco-communities. People who sincerely strive to live in harmony with the wilderness are actively adopting these unique principles of spatial organization and material use. The technologies of their ancestors irrefutably prove that absolute comfort does not necessarily require connection to urban utility networks. Of particular and immense interest is the study of the phenomenal durability of rope joints in complex roof frame structures. When properly dried, fibers from the bark of wild hazel or tall hemp easily attained the immense strength of steel wire. They did not rust at all in damp, humid environments and did not damage the wood structure in the slightest, unlike metal staples, which constantly do so. The flexibility of such joints easily allowed buildings to withstand strong, low-amplitude earthquakes without a single crack. The use of such flexible connections, instead of rigid joints, could be a real breakthrough in the mass construction of earthquake-resistant, low-rise wooden buildings. The principles behind this ingenious natural waterproofing using bark can be easily adapted for the large-scale production of modern, natural roofing materials. Dense, pressed panels made from woodworking waste and impregnated with natural coniferous resins could permanently replace toxic bitumen. Such a material would fully preserve absolutely all the advantages of natural thick bark, ensuring ideal vapor permeability for all residential facades. Mass production of such materials would go a long way towards solving the enormous problem of wood waste disposal at modern sawmills. The ancient traditions of the past are always ready to generously offer elegant solutions to the most pressing and painful environmental problems of our vast modern world. The focus on complex thermal barriers, such as massive vestibules made of poles, serves as a reminder of the incredible importance of proper entrance design. Many modern private homes are built with a direct exit from a warm living room to a freezing street, leading to enormous heat loss. Reviving the mandatory practice of using cold entryways can easily reduce massive heating costs by tens of percentage points. This utterly simple architectural solution requires absolutely no implementation of highly complex technologies or purchase of expensive materials. It is quite sufficient simply to rethink the vast experience of our ancestors and successfully incorporate it into modern designs for warm country homes. A careful study of the complex aerodynamics of rounded roofs provides excellent insights for designing sturdy structures in areas prone to frequent hurricanes. Instead of constantly increasing wall thickness and reinforcing flat facades, architects can confidently use streamlined, dome-shaped, sturdy forms. Dome houses, built strictly according to the principles of Cherokee architecture, withstand wind loads, which destroy classic, expensive cottages with incredible ease. The incredible force of nature is not overcome by brute strength at all, but is elegantly circumvented solely through the structure's perfectly precise geometry. This is a true triumph of engineering ingenuity over blind and furious natural forces, achieved through the most incredibly simple and extremely affordable means. The ability of these enormous houses to easily maintain absolutely optimal humidity without condensation is the ultimate dream of all modern designers. The widespread adoption of the principles of diffusion open walls will make it possible to build structures everywhere where people will not suffer from mold allergies at all. These walls must always function exactly like the skin of a huge living organism, easily absorbing and releasing moisture only as needed. Only completely natural materials, such as wood, thick bark, clay, and straw, are fully capable of facilitating this unique process. A complete rejection of total synthetic sealing in favor of breathable wooden structures is a huge step toward a healthy life in harmony with nature. The vast experience of the indigenous peoples of North America irrefutably demonstrates that a true architect's mastery always lies precisely in an understanding of nature. Every sturdy tree, every smooth stone, and absolutely every gust of wind can become the best tools for creating an ideal and very warm home. Cherokee dwellings are by no means primitive huts, but rather genuine high-tech engineering masterpieces of their great era. They brilliantly combine impeccable thermal regulation, stunning reliability, absolute environmental friendliness, and the incredible durability of simple materials. This incredible architecture of survival continues to amaze us with its phenomenal rationality and profound absolute respect for the vast world around us. We have seen that the incredible architectural secrets of the Cherokee Indians concealed profound knowledge, in the fields of thermal physics and complex engineering. Their remarkable bark dwellings were true energy-efficient capsules, confidently ahead of modern environmental trends by centuries. This ancient knowledge irrefutably proves that a comfortable life in harmony with nature does not always require complex and harmful industrial technologies. Please suggest topics in the comments for future videos about the daily lives and incredible survival stories of other indigenous peoples of North America that you'd like to see on our channel. And be sure to subscribe to our channel so you never miss our new in-depth engineering explorations of the forgotten mysteries of the past.